Why Tata Nano was made. The truth behind the world's cheapest car. Today, Tata Motors is one of India's most trusted car brands, building everything from electric vehicles to premium SUVs. But over 15 years ago, the company attempted something no car maker in the world had dared to try. They set out to build a brand new car that could be sold for just 1 lakh rupees, roughly $2,000, cheaper than many motorcycles. It was meant for families who had never been able to afford 4 wheels in their lives. Many people, including Tata's own engineers, believed it simply couldn't be done. But the man behind this idea wasn't chasing headlines. He had something far more personal in mind. So sit back and relax, because today we'll be covering the story of why the Tata Nano was made, and how a vision built on compassion turned into one of the most painful lessons in Indian business history. A vision born from guilt. To understand why the Nano exists, we have to go back to the mind of one man, Ratan Tata, chairman of Tata Sons. Trained as an architect at Cornell University, Tata had a habit of sketching ideas on paper whenever something troubled him. By the early 2000s, he had already built the Tata Group into a sprawling empire spanning steel, tea, and software. But something he saw on India's streets kept bothering him, something so ordinary, most people barely noticed it. Anyone who has driven through an Indian city has seen it. A single motorcycle, carrying an entire family, a father driving, a mother holding an infant behind him, 1 or 2 more children squeezed in between, all balanced on a 2-wheeler never meant to carry more than 2 people. For most people, this was simply normal life. For Ratan Tata, it looked like a tragedy waiting to happen. He later recalled the moment that affected him most in Bangalore, watching a scooter slide and topple right in front of his car, the family riding it scattering across the road. Nobody was seriously hurt, but the image never left him. It wasn't a business strategy meeting that birthed the idea of the Nano. It was a billionaire looking at a poor family risking their lives just to get somewhere and deciding he couldn't look away. From scooters to a strange new idea, the earliest version of the idea wasn't even a car. Tata and his engineers first explored making scooters safer, perhaps adding some kind of structure around the rider. But as the team worked, the concept kept changing shape, first into a basic 4-wheeled buggy with no doors or windows, then finally into something Tata decided should simply become a real car, fully enclosed, but priced low enough to replace the family motorcycle entirely. That price point became the most defining and ultimately most dangerous decision of the whole project. Tata didn't just want an affordable car, he wanted the cheapest car the world had ever seen, at a number that would stick in everyone's mind, 1 lakh rupees. When he floated this internally, his own team didn't respond with excitement. They responded with disbelief. Several colleagues told him outright the number couldn't work if the car was going to be safe and still profitable. But once Tata said the number publicly, there was no turning back. The challenge had been laid down, not just to his own engineers, but to the entire global auto industry. The engineering puzzle. Nobody had solved. Hitting that price meant rethinking almost every part of what a car traditionally is. The team stripped away anything that wasn't essential. Power steering, air conditioning, even a radio in the base model were all removed. They used a smaller, rear-mounted engine instead of a larger front-mounted one, cutting costs while freeing up more interior space despite the car's tiny footprint. Engineers also reworked the entire supply chain, negotiating directly with suppliers to localize manufacturing and introducing new assembly techniques built specifically for the Nano's production line. Every component had to justify its cost, because saved rupees multiplied across hundreds of thousands of cars, would decide whether the target price was actually hit. And despite all this cutting, Tata insisted the car still had to meet real safety standards, since the entire point was to make families safer than they were on two-wheelers, not just cheaper to move around. The world watches and waits. As word spread that Tata Motors was building a car for 1 lakh rupees, the global automotive press took notice. Could an emerging market automaker really build a fully enclosed passenger car cheaper than many used motorcycles abroad? Rival engineers questioned the safety. Economists doubted the economics. Some journalists assumed it was simply a publicity stunt. Tata and his team kept working quietly, through years of development, largely outside public view. The unveiling that shocked the industry. In January 2008, at the Auto Expo in New Delhi, Ratan Tata pulled the cover off a small, rounded car and confirmed what so many had doubted: the Tata Nano would be sold, starting at 1 lakh rupees. The announcement sent shockwaves through the global industry. Manufacturers who had insisted for decades that this price was impossible now had to reckon with an Indian company that had apparently done it. Measuring just over 3 meters, the Nano was cleverly designed to seat 4 passengers, despite its tiny size. Newspapers around the world called it the people's car, comparing it to the original ambitions behind the Volkswagen Beetle decades earlier. For a moment, it seemed Ratan Tata's vision was about to transform transportation across an entire country. Trouble before the car even reached the road. But before a single Nano reached a customer, the project ran into a political storm with nothing to do with engineering. Tata Motors had chosen Singur, a fertile agricultural belt in West Bengal, for its main plant. The state government acquired roughly 1,000 acres of farmland for the project, but many local farmers refused to give up their land, arguing the new jobs would mostly go to outsiders, while they lost their only livelihood. Mamata Banerjee, then the opposition leader in West Bengal, turned the farmers' anger into a full political movement, leading protests and eventually a 26-day hunger strike that drew national attention and support from prominent writers and activists. Clashes turned violent, and the standoff dragged on for nearly 2 years. By October 2008, with construction repeatedly disrupted, Ratan Tata made the painful call to pull the entire project out of West Bengal, publicly blaming the protest movement for derailing it, and within days announced a new factory site in Sanand, Gujarat. It was a costly, embarrassing setback for a car that hadn't even gone on sale yet. A rocky road to market. Despite the Singur disaster, Tata Motors pushed on, and by 2009 the Nano finally launched. Demand was enormous at first, with hundreds of thousands of bookings rolling in. For a brief period, it looked like Ratan Tata's original vision was finally becoming real. But new problems soon surfaced. In 2010, reports emerged of a small number of Nano units catching fire shortly after being driven. The numbers were tiny relative to total sales, but the timing was disastrous. A car marketed around being the world's cheapest now had headlines linking cheap with unsafe, the exact opposite of what Tata had set out to prove. The company introduced fixes and insisted the issue was resolved, but the damage to public trust had already been done. The marketing mistake that changed everything. Perhaps the most surprising part of the Nano's downfall wasn't political or technical at all. It was a simple marketing decision. Ratan Tata later admitted that his own sales teams had made a critical error in how they pitched the car. Rather than calling it the most affordable car one that finally made safe transportation accessible, the marketing leaned hard into calling it the cheapest car in the world. To the company, this seemed like a minor wording choice. But to Indian consumers, especially families who had saved for years just to own four wheels for the first time, being seen in the cheapest car carried an uncomfortable social weight that the most affordable car never would have. In a country where buying a car is often as much about status as practicality, nobody wanted to pull into a wedding or a workplace parking lot in what their neighbors openly called the cheapest car on the road. Ironically, many of the very families the Nano was built for avoided it for exactly this reason. Ratan Tata later reflected that this marketing mistake hurt the Nano's reputation more than the fire incidents or the political controversy combined. Sales decline and the slow fade. Sales, strong in 2009 and 2010, began a steady decline in the years that followed. Tata Motors tried several relaunches, repositioning the Nano as a stylish car for younger urban buyers rather than a motorcycle replacement. But nothing reversed the downward trend in any lasting way. By the mid-2000s, the Nano had become a case study in Indian business schools, a cautionary tale of how a genuinely good idea can fail in the market through poor positioning and bad timing. In 2018, roughly a decade after its triumphant unveiling, Tata Motors quietly built its final Nano units and ended the project altogether. What the Nano actually achieved, even so, calling the Nano a complete failure would be unfair. It proved beyond doubt that Indian engineers could design and build a modern passenger car at a price the rest of the global industry had called impossible. Its cost engineering innovations went on to influence other budget vehicles within Tata Motors and across the wider Indian auto industry. The Nano also pushed road safety, particularly the dangers of overcrowded two-wheelers, into the national conversation in a way it hadn't been before. The man behind the idea, looking back, in later interviews, Ratan Tata remained candid about the project's failure, openly admitting the marketing had been a mistake and the vision hadn't played out the way he'd imagined. But he never expressed regret over trying. For a man known throughout his career for putting social impact alongside profit, the Nano remained deeply personal, a direct response to a moment of human suffering he witnessed firsthand on a street in Bangalore. Ratan Tata passed away in October 2024, leaving behind a legacy of bold decisions, from acquiring Jaguar Land Rover and Chorus Steel to building entirely new product categories in India. Yet among all his achievements, the Tata Nano remains one of the most human. A project that began not with a spreadsheet, but with one man watching a family nearly get hurt on a crowded street and deciding he couldn't look away. The Nano never became the car that put every Indian family safely behind a steering wheel, the way its creator once hoped. But it remains proof of how far genuine compassion can push an entire industry to rethink what it believes is possible. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.